Every offense needs a good shot play. Not only is it a great way to score quick, but it keeps the defense a lot more honest if they know that it can come at any moment. So that'll free up the rest of your attack underneath. I feel like this year the defense is better at protecting against deep shots, but there are still a few ways of getting them to hit. And that's mainly with the deep post route, which gets free deep against almost every coverage in the game as long as you set it up correctly. In this video, we'll go over conceptually how to get this to work consistently, and we'll show it in a variety of different formations so you can just cycle between them. So even though you're essentially doing the same thing, it won't be as obvious to your opponent. So find a few deep post routes in your playbook. For now, I'll go into gun trio offset, PA post shot in the Eagles playbook, and let's get started against cover 2. So this doesn't get brought up too often, but you can actually hit post routes over the top of these deep halves that were previously considered as, the ultimate deep zone that, it's totally safe, nothing gets past it. You can beat it underneath and side to side, but nothing's going to get past it vertically. But with the post route, if you set it up correctly, you can definitely do that. I've showed it briefly before in my single back ace slot videos, but I haven't really touched on it specifically. Just in general, conceptually. So what do you need for this to work? One thing, the formation itself isn't too important, though there are a few things that'll make it better. One thing you need, of course, is a deep post route, and you need to set that to the field. So right now we have Hopkins over there, and he's in the zone, but it shouldn't affect any of this. You do actually probably want a bit of speed on that wide receiver. Of course, you don't want to be sitting in the pocket all day. You don't need any of the abilities against zone coverage, so we'll show this against cover 4 and 2. That post route will be able to get over the top, but if you also want to use this against man coverage, I would recommend using a post specialist, and that's why I have Hopkins right here. He'll be able to get open against press man, off man, combination of man and zone. Really almost against every coverage he'll be able to get there. So this X factor here doesn't really mean anything. Post specialist is going to help against man, and then a little bit of speed is of course what you want. In terms of your quarterback, it's not super necessary to have the ultimate most arm strength, but some arm strength is nice to be able to zip the ball there a little bit quickly. Some escapability could be nice. Everybody probably has escape artist by now. Just to buy yourself a little bit more time should you need it. If you wanted to escape from the pocket a little bit, you can, but it's not necessary. Some other things that could be useful are play action or some routes underneath to distract the user. So this has both essentially. So you have a crossing route, which you'll actually have to take out of this play. We'll look into the other plays that we'll go into later on that we can use actually a crossing route, but there's actually a reason we'll have to take it out. And then play action can hold that user down a little bit just so he's not, immediately tracking back and covering the post himself. And then you'll want a potential check down option. So a potential check down could be, say, a blocking tight end on a block and release. So if something breaks down, if something goes a little bit unexpected, or the user tracks that himself, you could release that tight end, or you could throw that little hitch to the wide receiver or something like that, just so you don't have to take a sack or throw the ball away. Routes should be running opposite to the post. So if you want to hit this against cover 2, against cover 4, man, no problem. But against cover 2, you need to have, and let me just go ahead and reset this. The other receivers need to be either blocking or running away from the direction the post is going. So I think a hitch could also work here out from this guy, or they should be blocking. What this will allow us to do is that it essentially bugs out this backside safety. So he comes inside and down, and it gives us a lot more room to hit him over the top, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a bit. And then the last thing, multiple formations. Like I was talking about earlier, don't try to just focus on one play and that's my shot play, that's what I'm going to go to, because it's going to be really easy for your opponent to see, okay, they try to hit me once with that, I'm going to be able to look out for that. So, maybe if you hit them once with one play, you leave that, you go to another potential post play, and you can use some of these as examples. Maybe they're similar in your playbook or something in a similar formation. So I'll just go ahead and show you right here. Just watch on the backside safety. Look at his technique. So he comes immediately inside, he comes a little bit down, and we have just acres and acres of space here for the easy one play touchdown against cover 2. Now if we just show this stock right here, so we have routes that are a little bit deeper and they're running inside, watch that backside safety. He's not coming inside anymore. And if I try to throw this, I mean, it was a bad throw here, but he was in a lot better position to make a play on the ball. Now, if they do put, say, the middle linebacker in a deep third here, that's where things start to break down a little bit. In general, this post and this kind of combination of routes around it is going to be good for anything, more so a too high look. It kind of breaks down against cover 3, or if you're popping in a middle third. But if you're coming up against heavy blitzers or somebody or if you're a heavy runner and nobody's putting thirds anyway because they're not good run D, this is going to be a lot easier for you. But you do also have the potential to hit him here. You definitely couldn't if you ran the stock look. But if you went ahead and did this, make sure everybody else is going opposite to the post and you do your block. So you'll wait in the pocket, maybe scramble a little bit, throw a lead over here, and you can beat your guy to the sideline because, again, the safety is no longer there. Now, against cover 4 drop, the restrictions of what you're doing aren't, as strict. Just make sure you're not having guys deep into that safety's area, the backside safety. But, again, I'll just show you this exact same setup right here. I'm still having the post route. In this case, they're not sending a lot, but even though we have the protection for possible blitz, and we have all day in the pocket, we can just throw that over the safety in the backside corner, and again, we're getting that easy one-play score. Then we can just show you against regular cover 3 sky. I mean, this isn't too much different than, say, the cover 2 with the middle third that I showed you, except now it's just a much better player. It's a safety rather than a linebacker, so it's going to be harder for you to find that. And I could even, say, put this guy on a half. I could protect the sticks, and you'll see that I can still get more open than I would ever been able to before. So just gonna go in, do the same thing. I don't have to escape, but it's something I can do. And then I could try to beat this guy. If the user click on, it could be tough, but it can be an option. But by and large, really mostly a too high beater. So let's go ahead and go against cover 0. We can press this or leave this off. Again, in this case, if it's obviously cover 0, you can, do other things with these guys if you want. You don't have to try to glitch out that backside safety because he's not going to be in a deep half. You can do things like put this guy on a check and release so that they don't green dog on you. And then assuming you have the post specialist, you're going to get open every single time over the top here. Sometimes the guy will be a little bit closer, but you're always going to have that catch. And the last thing we'll just show you in this formation before we go to the other ones is just cover 2 man. Now, you don't see cover 2 man very often. Actually, let me just go ahead and reset that. You don't see cover 2 man very often. Maybe you'll see it at the end of the half or at the end of the game because it's really safe. You got those 2 deep safeties with the man, guys in man coverage that can potentially add to the double coverage or even triple coverage down the field. But we know that this setup can bug out that backside half safety, and we know that a post specialist can beat that man, that defender in man coverage, just like this. And you see against a really safe coverage, you got 5 yards, 6 yards of separation for the easy score. And like I was saying, we can run this out of multiple different looks. So here we have a jumbo look, 3 tight ends to the strong side. We got the post on the backside. I can block the tight end over here, or just leave him underneath. We have a nice crosser here to occupy the user. We are going against cover 4 drop right here, assuming we can buy a little bit of time. We can pass lead that out there. Of course, that's going to be a touchdown. We know that. Against Tampa 2 right here, same old thing, except in this case we don't have contained. It's going to be a little bit harder. But that safety steps up and we can hit him 10 yards of separation over the top. And what about PA zone shot, single back wide trips right here? Again, routes are going to the opposite side. Maybe we can bring this guy a little bit more shallow. Again, to help out with the whole situation. We got a weird look right here, but that's okay. Again, 5 yards in this case. And single back wide trips here. Just something to note here is that if I have my wide receivers on the opposite side of the post, if they're not attached to the line of scrimmage, like say if they're not tight ends, then that safety, although you can still hit him over the top, he won't be as aggressive inside as I showed you, say, in the previous or especially in the first option. But again, we can still hit him over the top right here, so just like that. Now in this case, if there was a deep third, we'd have no shot. So in my opinion, really, when your receivers to the opposite side of the post are, again, tight ends attached to the line of scrimmage, that's really when things are going to work out the best. And again, you can drag these guys underneath just to give you another option, or you can max protect to give you that time in the pocket. See, that safety really steps up inside and you have way more room here, and then it gives you the possibility of throwing it further outside against a deep third. And just to round it out here, we're in single back tray right here. We got the post over there. We're putting these receivers away. We're making sure that the wide receiver, sorry, the tight end isn't checking outside. And again, in my opinion, this is going to work best with the opposite side receiver being attached to the line of scrimmage. Cover 2 man right here. We got to beat a man defender and we got to beat a weak side safety. But we know that we're going to be good because that safe safety isn't going to have a chance. Just like that, over the top, easy one-play score. Now, I know this does require time, but you know, it's not something to build your offense off of. This is something to throw in when you need it. So maybe it's at the end of the half, end of a game, or you're just looking to something to add a spark to your offense. That's when you're going to be using these things. So, you know, keep this in mind. You know, you're going to have maybe not these exact plays, but you're going to have some post plays, and you're going to be able to just apply these simple rules and make them really hit. So that's it. Let's just round this out. Cover 4 drop with this look that I've been showing the last few plays. Same old thing right here. I mean, the user can pretty easily key on this, but again, if you have something else to throw underneath to preoccupy him a little bit, you're always going to be able to hit that. So look for those post routes, you know, develop 2 or 3 or 4 different options in terms of formations that you're comfortable with. Again, if you forget, go back to the beginning of the video. I told you what types of things you need. You know, the types of formation you're looking for, the type of route you're looking for, the type of players you're looking for. Avoid cover 3, you know, if they're running Tampa 2 with the deep third. You know, you could probably hit that, as I showed a few times, but maybe avoid that if you don't have to. Run the ball if you're seeing those deep thirds. And that's that. Hopefully you can bake this into your offense and start using it more. I know I haven't been using it nearly enough, even though it's pretty much always there, especially with a lot of this cover 4 drop show 2 that you're seeing. And it's going to be good for you. Okay, that's it for this one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.